Good morning, Britain. We're live from the Polish border with Ukraine at Medyka, the busiest crossing for those. Good morning, Britain. It's just gone 6 o'clock. Welcome to the programme and welcome to Medyka on the Ukrainian-Polish border, the busiest of the border cross behind me, behind the cameras, that way is Ukraine. And as I speak this morning, that's what people coming here to Medyka are leaving behind. As we're speaking this morning, people are arriving over the border. They make their way down this pathway. It's lined with free food stalls if they need something to eat. There are buggies for the babies as medical help if they need it. And behind me are buses taking those who don't have friends or family here in Poland to the Refugee Reception Centre in Przemysl with their children, their pets. The most heartbreaking sight here is the kids. They've seen things. This morning we are going to hear from Emilia. You'll remember her. She's the little girl who became a star when she lit up that Kyiv bomb shelter at the beginning of the war, singing Let It Go. She can't go home until the war is over. She's safe here in Poland right now. But our top story this morning, Good Morning Britain, has learned that the Home Office has approved fewer than 50 visas since mid-March for families at a key refugee centre here on the border, with many family members receiving their visas at different times and having to wait weeks to travel together to their host families in the UK. More than 5 million people have fled Ukraine since the conflict began. It's the biggest movement of refugees since the Second World War. Feels like sometimes all you can give is a hug. Let's go to the capital of Ukraine, Kyiv. We are live from the Ukrainian-Polish border in Medyka throughout the programme. Shortly we will hear the full story from 7-year-old Emilia Anisevich. You'll remember her singing in the Kyiv bunker. It became a beacon of hope for millions of these refugees. First, here's Sean with the rest of the day's news. Still to come on Good Morning Britain, she was the light during the darkest of times, a young voice. That's coming up next. First, let's get the news, travel and weather where you are. Good morning, Britain. I'm live from the Ukrainian-Polish border at Medyka, the busiest crossing from Ukraine into Poland. Over the weekend, thousands of Ukrainians went back home. But one family who won't be returning until the war is over is that of Emilia Anisevich. She is the 7-year-old whose singing in the Kyiv bunker lit up the gloom in the early days of the invasion. In a UK exclusive here on Good Morning Britain, we hear the full story of what it was really like in that crowded basement, Emilia's escape from the bunker, and the moment her mother feared the evacuation train taking her to safety was under attack. I met them in Warsaw just before Emilia appeared on the final of The Voice Kids in Poland. How her life has changed. She has the voice of an angel, but no longer sings in Russian as she did at the start of the war. Very worrying for you, isn't it? Your mum, who's almost 80, is at home. Yes. You've got 2 adult children. What have you heard this morning?
Well, unfortunately, normal and
a few months ago.
Yes,
you
8 months ago.
at the beginning of the year. That's right. Your husband's in America.
Yes.
You went out to visit him.
Yes.
You came back to Lviv, and how soon before the war broke out?
Well, actually, I
Managed to get out to come to Poland.
yes.
So you're in safety. Meanwhile, your family is at risk back in Lviv. Have you tried to contact them this morning?
Not yet.
Because as Natalia says, there is this extraordinary app on your phone where you can look. I just wonder if you might be able to show the audience actually, where you can see. I don't know if you can pick that up on the camera, but it shows. Just to explain how that works.
Yeah, all the area which is 2 regions.
And that is updated every 15 seconds.
Yes, exactly, every 15 seconds.
Look, Natalia, I hope obviously your family are okay, and we'll keep up to date with that. Thank you so much. Thank you. The decision to go into the basement and take shelter. The decision to send Emilia and her brother away must have been a very difficult one for you to make.
An older brother. I can't remember.
Emilia, when do you hope that you'll be able to go home again?
What Emilia just said is her personal view. longer.
For the voice kids, are you feeling nervous?
Хай женуть, хай цураються.
Beautiful voice. You love singing. Love it. Now, who wait to see you to say, you're a star. That's brilliant.
We lived in a multi-storey building. Fortunately, our building is taped to save them from damage. We heard sirens all the time and we knew it was serious.
Obviously a very strong bond between you, but there was a point, Mum, wasn't there, where you had to see her go. Emilia, can I ask you about the journey? What was that like, leaving Mum and Dad behind and looking after your grandmother as you came over to Poland?
But we had 2 sandwiches, so I ate.
Я додам невеличку ремарку.
Are you able to keep in touch with your daughter and your son and their grandmother while they made the journey?
Started on the way of the train. They had to change the route. And once they were at the train station, I can't describe my feelings. They remained safe. They saw some smoke from a distance, but their train was okay. They looked at me, and everyone tried to reach them. And I remember once they reached their grandma, we had some feeling the pressure was lifted.
Heart-stopping minutes where you can't contact somebody and might have been under bombardment.
Істота, але це всесвітнє зло, всесвітнього.
When the war is finished.
Soon do you hope that is, Emilia?
When we have our victory.
Це
I must tell you that we don't discuss this question at home.
я всім серцем вірю в те, що це буде дуже-дуже скоро. Я на це дуже сподіваюся.
I try to be optimistic as possible, and I hope that victory is very close and the war will be finished very soon.
На жаль, я не бачу поки що якогось такого.
Unfortunately, I admit that I should agree with Emilia that yes, maybe it will take.
So people are going home to Kyiv now. Is that something you've considered?
Kyiv has relaunched business, public transport, but it doesn't mean the danger is over.
Абсолютно так, абсолютно.
Yes.
Поїхати, залишити там батьків.
I have kids, and I understand as a mum I cannot just go back and not think about it.
Та ні, повернуся, а може пронесе, ні. Я не за себе відповідаю, мене діти.
My kids should be safe.
Emilia has become stronger in her character since she left Kyiv. Emilia, you have a big performance tonight.
Дуже гарно, коли я стою на сцену. When I'm on stage, all my fears disappear.
Може,
She can be nervous, she can be naughty, but once she's on stage, she forgets an artist with a lot of experience.
I wonder whether you might give us a little preview of your song that you're going to sing tonight. Would you be able to do that? Because you love singing, don't you, Emilia?